So you can see, again, that was pretty simple, and you can very easily do the exact same thing as well. And that right there has guaranteed me £5.50 of profit, regardless of what happens in this race. So Betfair trading's fun, isn't it? It's the ultimate test of managing your own risk and managing your own emotions and your own psychology. So as many of you might know, traditionally I'm a match better, and I made quite a lot of money online from match betting over the last few years using various different match betting strategies and match betting offers. But as my money continues to increase month after month from match betting, as do the state restrictions within my bookmaker accounts as well. Now, if you can only get on with Bet365 for about 50p or something like that, you're obviously not going to be able to pull out an adequate amount of profit every single month from match betting. So a little under a year ago, I set out into the big, scary world that is horse racing markets on the Betfair exchange with the intention of making a profit every single month in a similar sort of sense to the way I do with my match betting. But how exactly does Betfair trading work? Well, the Betfair exchange is essentially a marketplace for people to bet amongst each other. Now, you can obviously place a back bet and you can place a lay bet as well. Now, the job as a trader is simple. You need to place a back bet at a higher price than you place a lay bet on a selection within the market. Now, as I'm focused on pre-off horse racing, obviously one of the selections I'll be choosing is a horse in the race. Now, if you're back at a higher price than you lay at, you make a profit. So it sounds pretty simple and pretty easy, right? Well, not quite, because there are quite a few hurdles that you need to overcome in order to make this profitable for you over the long term. Now, the markets overall are efficient as the book values on both the back and the lay side are always at or around 100%. So this means that theoretically, if you were to just guess which way the price was going to move every single time you placed a trade, and then cash out, hedge your position just before each of the races went in play, over the long term, you should essentially win about 50% of the time and lose about 50% of the time. And those wins and losses will kind of counteract each other, and ultimately you won't make any money, but you won't lose any money either. So in theory, even if you just cannot get this to work and you're completely hopeless at it, you shouldn't really lose that much money. But wait right there, as there is another hurdle you need to overcome as well. And that second hurdle is right here. Now, the second hurdle is managing your own emotions and managing your own psychology and all that kind of thing. Because of the very natural way we all think and all these biases we have, such as fear, greed, panic, worry, all these kind of things, even though that theoretically the maths states that you really shouldn't be losing that much money or winning that much money, because of these psychological biases that we all have and these psychological flaws that we all have, that scale can actually dip against you and it can actually make you become negative. So you have two hurdles though, which are a little bit more external, I would say, to trading on a daily basis within the market. But the third hurdle is very much internal from a daily trading perspective, and that's managing the amount of money you use on a trade by trade basis. So for example, if you've got something that's completely obviously drifting, so a horse is completely obviously moving up in price, in other words, you would obviously want to put as much money as you possibly could through that runner, because it's a low risk situation and you want to maximise your profits, and obviously you've got a very small risk because it's clearly moving up in the direction that you want it to. Whereas if you've got something that's a little bit more of a grey area type situation, there's a more ambiguity about it, you would obviously want to use smaller stakes, which would mitigate your risk and it would mitigate your downside if you didn't get the trade right. So what I've done is I've screen recorded about 3 trades, which we're going to watch back over right now. I make about £11 from these 3 trades, so it's not a massive amount of money. I'm not using massive stakes or anything like that because I am still learning and I'm still a beginner. Each of these 3 trades is from Chester, and hopefully they'll give you a better feel for exactly how this kind of thing works. So what I'm doing with each of these trades is I'm focusing my energy specifically on looking for one thing, and that basically is for the favourite to contract in price, so the favourite to get shorter essentially. So I'm looking to back the favourite first and then lay it at a shorter price as the price moves in. That's my intention with each of these trades. Okay, so for this first trade that I want to show you, I feel like the favourite is looking quite strong here. So as it's meeting the criteria that I've just discussed, I'm going to place my back bet into the market in just a moment at about 254 or 256. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, the odds are displayed in the middle of the ladder in the dark blue, and this is basically Betfair trading software. Now, this basically does exactly the same as what you can do on Betfair's website itself. The difference being it's much faster. So you're getting information really fast as opposed to waiting like 15 or 20 seconds on the Betfair website. It's just going to give you that advantage over anybody that's using the phone or using the website. And of course, a big part of your edge a lot of the time in trading is the speed advantage. So that's basically what this is if you're not familiar with it. So you can see I've placed my back bet at 254 into the market, and as soon as someone comes and lays me at 254 and takes that bet, I'll have a position within the market. So as you can see, that's just happened. My bet's disappeared from the ladder. Now if you look at the left hand side of the ladder, for each price tick that I get, I'm going to gain about 40p of profit, and that gets a little bit bigger the more the price contracts. Now on the opposite side of that, if I get this wrong, you can see I'm going to lose just less than 40p for every tick that it goes against me. Now because I've backed this runner above the curve for £50, I now need to place that same amount of money into the market on the lay side, on the same runner, to close out this trade and hopefully make my profit. So what I've done here is I've split that 50 quid up into smaller bets. Now I've not put the entire amount back into the market. You can see I've put about 20 quid back into the market on the lay side, and this is roughly the point I think the price is going to contract and move to. Now I've not put all the £50 back into the market, because if the price breaks through that point where I've got that £20, I'm going to ride this down for as long as possible and make as much profit as I possibly can from it. Now I'm also looking at the downside as well. So I'm looking at this, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'm looking for about £3 of profit realistically here. If I can get more profit, that's excellent, but realistically, I think I'm going to get about 3 quid of profit if we average out all those £5 where they are in the market. So I need to look at my downside. I'm sort of saying, okay, on the downside, 2.7 is where there's about a £3 loss. So that's kind of my maximum loss that I'm willing to take. If the price moves against me, I'm going to get out as quickly as I can, but that's kind of the limit of where I'll let the price move against me too. So what I'm going to do to keep this video as interesting as possible is I'm just going to fast forward the trade a little bit until we start getting some serious price movement. Okay, so fast forwarded the trade a little bit to the point where the price starts to contract. So I've been seeing backing all throughout that period that I skipped, and you can see in a minute the price is going to start coming in. Everything else is looking pretty weak in the market, in my opinion. You can see there's a little bit of backing there, which is pushing the price in a bit. And you can see we're getting closer to the point where I've got that £20 sat in the market. And we're going to get our first one taken just about now, which we did. And what this is doing, every time one of those £5 gets taken, it makes my green zone a little bit longer on the left hand side, and it reduces my downside as well. So all 4 of those bets have been taken, and you can see we're at about £3 of profit. Now what I'm doing here is I'm trying to ride this down as far as possible. So I'm thinking about putting some exit positions in here. Remember, I've still got to get rid of £30 as it's shown in the top. So I'm just popping in a little bit more of my liability into the market, and a lot of the time with this kind of thing, you just sort of need to be able to hold your nerve and look at it, you know, look at the big picture instead of getting freaked out at every little wobble and every little price movement. And you can see we've got £15 left to get in. Remember, I backed for 50 quid. I've put £35 back in on the lay side. I need to get rid of £15 in order to give myself a completely free bet on this runner, which I'll then cash out and spread the profit across all the other runners. But I'm starting to notice it's getting a little bit weaker now, and we're running out of time. There's only about 18 seconds left until post time. So I'm getting ready to cancel this out. You can see I'm dropping the last bets back in to try and close my position. And you can see that's a big indicator right there, that £2,000, that this might halt at this point. So I'm trying to get out here as quickly as I can. And that should be enough, which it is. And you can see we've ended up with a profit of £3.53, which is better indicated on this screenshot from the Betfair website. So for this next trade, again, it's at Chester, and again, I'm looking for the same setup, I'm looking for the same criteria, that being the price shortening and coming in on the favourite, so I can back at a higher price and lay at a lower price towards the bottom of the trend. But this time there's a slight catch to this trade, and something actually doesn't go in my favour, which you might be interested in seeing. So once again, I'm looking at implementing the same strategy, that being backing the steaming favourite and riding that trend down. So you can see I'm back in here at 2.4. So 2 things stand out to me, well 3 things actually. The first thing is that the favourite is stuck at 2.4, as you can see by the no static line on the price and volume over time graph. I'm also noticing that the runner is at the bottom of its traded range as well, so it's already been receiving back-in support prior to me getting involved with it. The third thing that I'm noticing is that ladders 2 and ladders 3 are trading around a crossover point, that being 6.0. Now very often there's an incentive for people to lay more than they back at these points because of the incremental difference between where the 5s become the 6s in this case. And ladder 4 looks weak and is gradually drifting as well. So hopefully those things can help me out, but the main thing that I need to see is genuine back support on this runner and on this horse. So I've done the same thing again, and I've placed 20 of my £50 a little bit further down the ladder at the point where I think this runner will come into. Now I've just skipped forward a little bit to keep this video as engaging as possible. And as you can see, I'm getting close to getting my lay bets taken between 224 and 218. So I am cautious that I am right at the bottom of the traded range, so no money has matched below this point. Now in hindsight, watching this back, I'm starting to see quite a little bit of weakness on this runner. For whatever reason, you know, maybe the price has got too short and it's become lay value. Maybe it's playing up on course. Whatever the case is, the fact is there's people now laying this runner. Now I would rather not lose any money after I've been in profit. So if the price drifts back up to my break-even point, which is 2.4, I'm going to have to put my 50 quid back in and scratch the position out. And as you can see, that is exactly what's just happened. You know, it is what it is. It's a little bit frustrating. I was in a profit and now I've blown the profit, but perhaps I got a little bit greedy and wanted the price to move a little bit too far down. But I'm now looking to take advantage of all this laying, which is now pushing the price in the opposite direction. It's now pushing the price up. So I'm looking to re-enter the market, this time laying first with my £50 and back in at a higher price even when the price drifts up. So I've entered the market again at 2.4, but this time I'm now on the lay side and I'm looking to ride the price the opposite way around. I'm looking to ride the price up. Now you can see there is a little bit of a battle between the backers and the layers, but I feel that the laying is going to outweigh the backing, and that is of course why I've laid at 2.4. Now I don't think that this move's going to be absolutely massive. And the point where I've got those 4 £5 orders which I've just put in will probably be near the top of the range, as there is still some back support for this as well. So I reckon probably about 2.5 is where this will drift to. So 2k there at 242, that could be beneficial to me. So I'm just holding my nerve the best I can here. I know people are happy to lay at 244, so if it drops a few ticks, you would expect people to jump on that with the fact that they can get a better lay price. So some of my orders are being taken, as you can see, which is offsetting my green zone, and it's making it almost certain that I will make a profit and I won't lose any money. But this is really starting to get a little bit painful now. It doesn't really want to break past 2.5, so I'm starting to dribble in the remaining money that I've got back into the market on the backside. Just patiently waiting for the market to wobble up a few more ticks. It can be a little bit frustrating how it fluctuates like this. Now I've just jumped forward again, as not a great deal has happened in terms of the price movement on the favourite. And it's now 2 minutes after post time, and I'm watching the live pictures and it's clear that the horses are just about to start the race, so I need to get out as quick as possible. So as you can see, not too bad. I've ended up with £2 on that race. So there are the first 2 trades, and I've actually saved the best trade and the strongest trending market, if you will, for last, which I'm going to show you right now. But just before we jump in, if you like my content and you want to support my channel, please do tap that subscribe button, guys. It takes you about a second to do, and it really does help me out. And if you want to see more content, YouTube will send you that content as well. Okay, so again, I'm looking to back the favourite, just like I have been in all of these trades. And it's looking fairly strong to me. So if people start dropping more money in at the touch price on the backside, I'll get in on this as well, and I'll back it. I'm just checking the previous race here at Newton Abbot to see if that race has finished yet, which it hasn't. I do want to be sure on this one, as I don't really like backing at crossover points, as you lose more than you win per tick if the price goes against you because of the incremental differences which I mentioned before. So I've just jumped forward a little bit to keep this video as interesting as possible for you. So I've just backed there and I'm on for £50 at 305. Now if you look at the P&L column, you can see, like I said, that I will lose more per tick than I will win if the price goes up as opposed to going down. So I need to make sure that the pressure is still very much on the price contracting. Now I am getting a little bit nervous here because I've backed around a crossover point and I've popped my closing trades in fairly tight to where I've entered. So there is a little battle going on here, but I'm pretty confident that this will break down and the back money will start to get the better of the lay money. So you can see here we're just having to wait and hold our nerve the best we can. We can clearly see people are backing this. We're seeing flashing the flashing numbers are showing big back bets. We can see in the traded volume columns there's money going through the market there. People are matching up their bets there. So we know there is backing activity. It's just a little bit frustrating that we're also seeing quite a little bit of laying as well at odds of 3. So you can see we're hopefully going to get some of our orders filled here. There's one of them taken. And hopefully the market will just keep pushing down, people will keep backing, it will keep sending the price in. There's another one. And each time that happens, we get more offset on our green zone. Now looking back at this now, I feel like I should have taken quite a bit more risk here because this is quite obviously going to blast down past 3 as there's just so much backing support here. And as you can see, that has happened and the market has now taken those lay bets that I had and it's now starting to spiral out of control. So at this point, I'm basically seeing how far I can ride this trend down. I've got 2 things on my mind though. The first thing is it's obviously after post time, but I've got pictures so I can see when the race will be going in play. And the second thing is, when will this price bounce back up? This price is getting really short really quickly and surely it's becoming value to lay, and for people who are trying to get value, surely they're going to find value to lay at this price. And on top of that, traders will also be looking to hedge their position as well, who like me have followed the trend down, and once they do that the price is likely to start wobbling back up again. So what I'm doing is I'm riding this down and I'm looking for like a fairly big indicator, like a big lay bet, something like that, what will enter the market, which might freak everybody out and then everyone might start hedging their position. Usually what happens, or usually what I find happens. So I think that 600 quid right there might start to halt the price a bit, so I'll start scaling out my final bets into the market and take my profit out. So hopefully we'll get a few more people to come and back and move the price down a little bit more. But I do think that this could start to bounce at this point, so I'm happy to get out at the bottom of the trend. So you can see, again, that was pretty simple, and you can very easily do the exact same thing as well. And that right there has guaranteed me £5.50 of profit, regardless of what happens in this race. So there you have it, guys. 3 easy trades where I'm looking for the same setup each and every time. Now, if you want to learn about 4 winning betting strategies that beat the bookmakers every time, I've just popped a video up on screen now, and if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.